Designs. This is part 3, I think, of the watercolouring with professional watercolours. These are Windsor and Newton Professional watercolours. Oops. And I wanted some really nice, proper, subtle colours. So I've been doing some colour mixing, coming up with some nice browns. And because they're very pigmented, they lend themselves to be really quite nice. So I've got to work quite dry still because we are watercolouring, but we're in a book. And this is probably a little bit thicker than watercolour paper, photocopy paper, but it will not withstand a lot of water. So you've got to work quite dry. But these watercolours are really lovely for just pushing the colour around. I'm just putting a flat colour to start with, and then I'm going to go probably with the rabbits and the toadstools and give a little bit of definition and highlights and lowlights. It's a little bit crinkled here because I spilt some yellow there. I wiped some yellow, and then I wiped it with a baby wipe, which was a silly idea, but I did. And I just have a very light mark and a little bit of it's not quite flat, but everything else is flat. So I made the colours with very similar to I made them with the cheap photocopy paper. And that kind of lends itself to the colour mixing with the cheap ones, and then you can kind of have a good play. But I can't remember. I tried to make a brown and I made an olive because I just touched the wrong yellow. But this watercolour is beautiful for just pushing about, and it makes sure that you get nearly every drop of water out of that paintbrush before you have to go back for more colour. And that ensures that you are not going to crinkle your page, because I really want to be a little bit protective towards these colour books. The pound shop ones and the other ones, if it's not very good quality, you can put anything on them, but I quite like these nice ones. And I don't work, so I can't really justify buying them, but there are other things I could do. So I'm going to try and put a little bit of pink in the ears, like I've been doing here. But I think because I've made this brown, I quite like it as a base. And so I'm just going to, and this is probably how I would watercolour anyway. Now, is that a paw or is that? Yes, that's a back paw. So the other reason I'm doing it is I'm picking out all the legs, and I've picked out all sorts of other things, so that makes that a little bit easier as well. So we've got this little one that's kind of escaping out here. And this colour is going a long way, I have to say. I've done how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm on my 6th little bun, and I've hardly used any colour. So it is, again, quite a nice, easy, peaceful way to work. And anything that's easy and peaceful is good for me. I think gone are the days of me throwing paint against a giant canvas. But you should never say never. I'm still trying to work out my Facebook group so people can put the same, upload the images of their art and things. and then obviously comment and chat about things that they find interesting, and then ignore things that they don't find interesting. And that would mean that, you know, if anybody wanted to watercolour a different page, they can join it with this one. Anybody done this one in crayons or oils or anything else, they can the same. What I'm hoping for is that the same image is going to be next to each other or near each other, and yet made from completely different colours. And I think that would be quite nice. So that is a paw, because that's his paw there. And I am teasing quite a lot of colour out of these. Because I might not be able to remember to mix the same colour again. It's never easy to get the exact colour. I have done it, but it can take you a long time. As I say, a long time ago I have done that. But it, you know, if you do something and you're a little bit short of colour, you've got two choices. You put a highlight or a low light on it. So it's always a good idea to mix enough. I'm not sure I'm going to have enough, but we'll see. But I'm probably getting half a bunny out of one small paintbrush. This is a rigger size 10-0. This is a Diddy brush, but it's managing me to just tease out quite a lot of colour. I hope I'm still in frame, am I? It's a lot easier to swiddle it round a little bit as well. Now this just have marks on it. This just has kind of, it's not flat. It's not flat colour. I mean, you know, there is some definition, and I did that little brown paw under there. And he's different because it's a different colour. But I quite like that. In this paintbrush there's the colours, but there's a lot of colour on there. So if I can just go back to here and kind of twist some more of that colour out, there's still quite a lot of colour in there. Really carefully twist this bunny here. Now this is a little bit bigger brush, but I do have a lot of colour on it, and it's a lot wetter, so it may not go as flat. There's a lot of colour on there. Just by using the edge, there's still lots of water on this brush, so I'm trying to be as careful as possible so I don't release too much of that water, because that will crinkle the page. But my palette's just gone completely, almost completely now. So I can work my way along. That hasn't taken as long as I thought it would, actually. It hasn't taken as long as I thought. And this one's in the crease, but because we've done a little bit of work, we've found where the leaves are. We've found where there's some mushrooms and morphing of other colours, and we've sorted which legs belong to which rabbit. So that's made that a little bit easier as well. So I'm going to swap to this larger brush now, so just bear with me, because this bunny is here, and again there's a lot of colour, a lot of water in this brush, just barely touching it, and it's so full of colour. I don't know if that's a bunny tail, it's more like a fox tail. I definitely don't think that's a bunny tail, but hey ho. And his leg goes behind there. This is the brush I mixed the colour with. So I don't normally do this, but I can't bear to throw the colour away, and I want all the buns to have a little bit of continuity. And I think I'll probably put some shadow under there a bit later. But it's a lot more difficult to work with this brush because it's very wet, it's full of colour, and it wouldn't take very much to destroy that lovely flat page and have a crinkle. But because I've run out of paint, I'm having to use this now. And then we have another bunny there. And the colour's almost gone in there now, so just have to see. Constitute a little bit of colour on that without too much water. I would like to put a nice shadow behind there, so I could do that later. I did want to keep the eyes white, but I think I've gone over them now. But there is a definite difference between colour between the olive and the bunny. And we have another bunny there. I can only do this because this brush has been sat under these lights for a good hour since I made the colour. And so it's dried out quite a lot, and all it's done is left the colour on the paintbrush. I could not mix this brush and then start this because it would instantly just express all its water, and then that would crinkle the page, which I'm really trying hard not to crinkle the page. Or tap the camera with the brush end. So I thought this would be interesting to see how these watercolours are mixing, and another way of colouring a book. I think this one's morphed into all sorts. I don't know what. That looks like it's a leg. And again, some of these, now I've got some things out of the way. So that's a back paw, that's a front paw, and that's a front paw. And that's the back leg, which must go over there somewhere. this bun now here. And the other ear, I think, is that one. So this is a lot faster, but I'd rather not work like this. I'm only doing it because I don't want to run out of paint. I much prefer to be drier because this kind of does lend itself to a crinkled page. But I do want all the bunnies to have some continuity, and the colour is nearly all gone. I'll be able to tease maybe a little bit more out, and that's it. I just picked up something that I shouldn't have done down there somewhere. Probably just that little bit too damp. That it is. I can't squeeze any more water out of there. I've got to be really careful that that's not going to crinkle. That paw goes down there. And we've got a back leg which I've missed off there. A tail. Found a mushroom stalk. I knew I'd miss one. I knew I'd miss a stalk. So I'll just there is a slight difference between that olive of the mushroom and the bunny brown, so that's quite nice. And another bunny there. I'm not really happy with the palette that I'm using at the moment, so when I get my nice palette I can go back in with some nice detail and kind of pick out some quite nice effects on there. So that's his chest there, but then he doesn't have any legs kicking forward. And I've missed a bunny, there's one there. So I've almost got all the bunnies, and there isn't a scrap, not a scrap of paint left on that palette. I'll show you in a second. There is, I definitely got my money's worth out of that colour. Definitely. But I did quite like the fact that that is a slightly olive colour and that's a warmer brown bunny colour. So he doesn't have any paws sticking out. So, oh, I've forgotten the back of that bunny. Look, he's got no body. Strange. Oops, he doesn't have a body. And they are both his legs, though, aren't they? I thought they were. But that's quite nice because what that's done just there, by accident, it's paler, but because of the olive, that's given that a little bit of highlight, so it's lighter. So I think every bunny has got all its paws and ears. So just let me have a look at glasses somewhere. I think that looks probably a lot richer than it is. I think the colour is up slightly out. They are a little bit paler at that side, but that's quite nice. I did want a little bit of difference. Let's see if I can get the colour. It's a little bit paler than that, I think. It's not that pale. Is it not pale? I lift that to there, it's not, it's because I can't hold it straight. I think that's where the crease was. So it's picked out some quite nice colours. So there's a few, that's quite nice with that, the rabbit there, that's got, the mushroom is darker behind it, the stalk, so it's coming along, it's coming along. So thank you for watching thank you for watching the end of part 3, which is a quickie, but I wanted to get the bunnies done. It is in the centre of the book, this, so it's, but I quite like the fact that it's not really crinkled. But that's because I did play with a little tiny brush, and my camera's cockeyed. I don't know why. Is it me? Probably me. So I haven't decided what to do with the really large mushrooms yet, but I'm going to pick off these little tiny bits here today. But I'm really enjoying playing with that. I'll show you how much paint's left. Absolutely nothing. Those with 2 brushes, there's nothing in there left of that bunny colour. So I'm quite proud of that. I got every scrap out. Tight Yorkshire lass. So thanks ever so for watching, and I'll finish. I went to do another part 3 of the Imagimorphia professional watercolours, which have proved to be really, really nice to work with.